I want to talk about something that I think has happened right under our noses. And I think the Chicago Bears have a secret recipe for Caleb Williams' success. And so far, this is for all of you who have Bears PTSD, right? I'm one of you. I'm right here with you with all this Caleb Williams hype. It gets me thinking, why isn't there a veteran in camp who he can learn from? Brett Rippon? Come on, man. How about this mentorship? This veteran quarterback presence that's needed, it's simply added to the staff instead. And I think the Bears did exactly that with the hiring of Ryan Griffin by the Chicago Bears. He very well might be the secret behind ensuring Caleb Williams becomes the player the Bears need him to be desperately. And Dan Weirder of the Chicago Tribune, he shared this belief in adding Griffin. And this is what he said. In addition, rather than investing in an established veteran backup quarterback, Poles and Eberflus hired Griffin as an additional assistant coach, hoping he can be a sounding board and a source of wisdom for Williams. During his playing days, Griffin spent 2 seasons with Drew Brees in New Orleans and Tom Brady at Tampa, gaining valuable insight into the preparation habits and mentalities of 2 of the best quarterbacks ever to play. Poles' research, it convinced him that behind the scenes, Griffin was a valued leader for the 2020 Bucs team that won the Super Bowl, a trusted resource for Brady, a glue guy in the locker room, and the hope is he can become similarly reliable for Caleb Williams. And at the time of his addition to the team, here's a release straight from the team. Bears coach Matt Eberflus on Friday added 2 more assistants to his staff, hiring Ryan Griffin to work with quarterbacks and receivers, and Brian Bing as an assistant defensive line coach. And Chicago announced this on their team website. This is where this comes from. Griffin was a quarterback who spent time with the Saints, 13 to 14, the Bucs, 15 to 22, primarily on their practice squads or as a third stringer. He appeared in 1 regular season NFL game, completing 2 of 4 passes for 18 yards on 1 drive for Tampa in a 19 contest against the Colts. Griffin entered the NFL with New Orleans as an undrafted free agent from Tulane. And I'm going to argue that his value on the team is not because he was like this super stud NFL quarterback. This guy is a glue guy. This guy is what this team needs for Caleb Williams' success. And this guy has experience being on a Super Bowl team. He was a backup for Tom Brady during their Super Bowl run, even if it was on the practice squad. And you might remember him for something outside of football. And I wasn't going to do this, but this is from SI, the Tampa page, and this is going to kind of illustrate the kind of guy that he was. I mean, Bucs fans probably remember Griffin best for his time helping Tom Brady out a little bit. You guys remember this picture? This is from him helping him on the stage during the team's famed or infamous, depending on your view of it, boat parade. And this was following their Super Bowl win over quarterback Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And yes, this is when Brady was, we'll say not sober to be kind. I'm showing the picture. I wasn't going to, but just enjoy this like for a different reason. I mean, it's kind of funny, but it also shows how close the relationship is and the trust that he had from Brady. He was there. He had his back. You got to like that. You got to be like, it might be the ultimate example of him being the glue guy on this team. And I'm going to take this down, but hope you enjoyed that. But there was a purpose for it. So on top of that, a longtime backup quarterback for the Bucs, Ryan Griffin, he joined the Chicago Bears coaching staff for the 2024 season. But upon doing that, he isn't hanging up his cleats. And this is kind of cool. He's getting a few more snaps of pro football in as a player before transitioning to the coaching life. And he did that by playing across the pond. He played quarterback for the Scorpions Varese. I believe that's how to pronounce it, Varese, of the Italian Football League. That's like the worst Italian accent in the entire world, so I apologize for that. So sorry. And he's making the most of his opportunity to continue playing the game instead of coaching it, and that's kind of like a fun opportunity that he took. took, and he threw quite a few touchdown passes there. He is now here to be the helpful veteran presence that Caleb Williams needs. And looking at GM Ryan Poles, he's had a pretty consistent way of doing things, right? He traded Justin Fields before drafting Caleb Williams, and this was part of his reasoning. With the Fields trade market when it was frozen at the time, a lot of people were pounding the table about the idea of potentially keeping Fields and drafting Caleb Williams. That started to gain traction, but the Bears didn't even entertain the idea because that could have been so detrimental in their view to Williams' early development. And it might as well have been ripped from the opening chapter of How Not to Develop a Franchise Quarterback. I mean, I think that's a book that the Bears probably wrote if it was available. I think the Bears have not only written it, but they have lived it. I mean, think of why the Bears might be gun shy of shoring up this position with a veteran that could actually start. I mean, Glennon paired with Trubisky, Dalton with Fields. Yes, these are gross situations, but unimaginably, there were quarterback controversies with these rookies. And frankly, Fields, I think he should have been upset with when the red rifle, if you could even call him that, maybe more like a BB gun, but he was starting in front of him. I'm still a little annoyed about it. I'm trying to be nice. So do I think that Fields and Williams could have been able to handle it like pros, could have been able to approach a competition with a positive attitude? I mean, the answer is maybe, but when the Bears drafted Williams, they did so because they viewed him as a better player than Fields. They believed he gives them a better chance of winning a Super Bowl. And in that case, the Bears needed to do everything they could to provide Williams with a soft landing spot in the NFL, to grow him in his development and to give him the best scenario possible, and not to mess with his confidence. And say what you will, but bring your rookie quarterback into a situation when he's sharing a locker room with a quarterback who is absolutely beloved by his teammates, and that's Justin Fields. A large section of the fan base, including myself, were loyal to him. I mean, just a recipe for disaster. And having both players there, that could have forced players to take sides. That could have made it harder for Williams to win over the locker room. And the reason with why someone like Ryan Tannehill wasn't signed, I mean, that was a name that was coming about. And Tannehill's had a good pro career, a ton of success with the Titans, lots of gas left in the tank. But if you have someone like Ryan Tannehill there, what happens if Caleb struggles out of the gate? What happens if he struggles a little bit against Tennessee? I mean, I can hear it on ESPN already. Put the veteran in, take Caleb out. Then the musical chairs can start. Confidence is broken. Loyalties divide. And I'm not sure if I agree with not having a proven veteran backup. I mean, that's wise. But it appears that this is the reasoning of the Bears front office and the coaching staff. And besides, you've got a guy like Tyson Bagent. He played like a full-grown man last season when he was needed. He should be able to steer the ship if an injury occurs. He's there for injury protection. But other than that, Caleb starts day one. The team sinks or swims with him, and the veteran leadership will come from now Coach Griffin. He was done playing Italian football in May. Kind of cool that he's staying sharp with his quarterbacking skills, but I think he might be exactly the influence that Caleb Williams needs to be great. And if we don't trust Poles by now, I'm not sure what the dude's got to do. We should be trusting his methods at this point, and he thinks that this is the optimal situation for Caleb Williams to develop and be the fantastic quarterback that he's drafted to be. And I think Griffin might be the secret formula, the secret recipe, if you will, behind ensuring that he does so. I mean, he has so much experience being behind Breeze, being behind Brady, being behind them and observing everything that they're doing to be successful, and even being a glue guy in the locker room to help them do so. I absolutely love this. I think it might be a sneaky solution that, once again, we don't always understand Ryan Poles' methodology until we see it in action. And you guys, let me know what you think. I think it's a great move bringing Griffin to staff. I think it's great to Just have the quarterback room exactly how it is, and I think it's a recipe for success. You guys bear down, enjoy this preseason, enjoy Thursday's game, or if you already have, you guys, it's just been fantastic spending this time with you, and we'll talk soon. See ya.